Hello, Flugel Flogel here, and today I'm going to be doing yet another review in the media room. Way! And I'm just going to quickly say, in this media class, I'm also working on a music video. I'll just keep it as that, but that other dodgy video I made, that be above it, well, I think that's a bit of a good hint. But here we are with another Beatles review. It's going to be sad when I finish this because I've been doing it. It was my first ever review, so I'll probably have to close the channel when I have to, I'll be rude. But that's not yet, is it? Oh. No, it's not. Okay, so this is another review, and it is the review of the Beatles soundtrack album, Yellow Submarine! And it's a classic 1968 or 9 or whatever piece cartoon made, and it's pretty dodgy, quite psychedelic, and is known as a children's classic, which is cool. And I think I'd probably get killed if I said it, but I haven't actually watched the full film. I've only seen segments of it, and obviously bits where the music itself is in it, so the only bits I did see, I know there was some pretty messed up crap, but never mind. The only thing I could complain about is maybe it would have been nice to have the actual Beatles doing the narration and the voiceover dubs instead of some dodgy American dudes who thought, let's do the best Liverpudlian accent, but I'm not here to judge a childhood classic here, am I? I'm not even here to judge the film, I'm here to review the soundtrack album. So, immediately this is known as the worst Beatles album, and I myself agree. But it's a good album, I'm only kidding. Okay, yeah, I do agree, it is the worst album by the Beatles, but some things are just so obviously bad about it that it has to be the worst Beatles album. But that's not to say that there ain't some really good songs. There's some fantastic songs. One particularly probably being my top 10 Beatles songs, but we'll get to that. So, two things basically that are the main concerns with this album. Number one, we'll have to judge when talking about the first track, which is Yellow Submarine. Now, how can you say anything bad about that? Yellow Submarine, that makes sense being in Yellow Submarine, the album. But this was previously issued on another album, Revolver. And what else? Oh, here's All You Need Is Love, which is from the Magical Mystery Tour EP. Now I can sort of understand this being on because that was on an EP back then and not really an album as such. But Yellow Submarine, you know, it's a bit cheap really. So maybe if you had some sort of compilation that you were making, you know, you could put it on yourself, you know what I mean? I mean, there's no difference in it, it's just the same song. But that's the first part that's wrong with it, and we'll get to the second part later once again. We now finally get to the proper song, if you want to call it that. Original. It's Only a Northern Song. And this is a George Harrison track, and it's okay. I'm not really bothered about it. It's typical Harrison psychedelic stuff that was done, but I don't find it really catchy at all or anything. I do have to give it credit that it is quite interesting in its subject matter, I suppose. I have no idea what it's on about, just some sort of band that you're not expecting, which sort of links to the Paul is Dead theory, thinking that you don't think this is the actual band, but it's a load of rubbish about that. And I don't know, if they made a proper stereo version, because on the 2009 remaster released, I think there's the mono version and there was a fake stereo version, I believe. It would have been good to hear some sort of stereo on this, because, like I say, it's a really psychedelic, typical song that was made back in the heyday psychedelia era, so I don't know why that's the case. Never mind, like I say, it's an alright song. I suppose I might be saying it because I am a northerner, but no, it's okay. The next track is really good. All Together Now, which is another like Yellow Submarine children's classic, I believe. I love the video to it as well. I think it's really nice, and I don't know, if it's better than Paul McCartney's Mary Had a Little Lamb at least. It's nice and original, and it's a sing-along song, but it's not too cheesy either. It's just a good song. So I can't really say much about that song. It's something that you'd like your kids to listen to, but it's the Beatles, so you wouldn't mind listening to it either. The next song is the top 10 song that I said before, Hey Bulldog, which I think is just fantastic. It's one of the most hard rocking songs by the Beatles as well, one of the most memorable riffs that they've ever made, particularly after say McCartney on bass really is great on it, and it sounds like they had a lot of fun making it, you know, around these times. I think obviously they weren't too happy with each other. There's just little bits here and there that I really like. I like the sort of breakdown at the back, and very tiny little things like when they say big man and then they hear Ringo, which is obviously known for being a bit small, and he goes yup. So I like that little bit. I think just the tempo that's created by Ringo is great, quite simple but keeps it going as well, sort of like fun stomping. So yeah, I really like the sound that these guys had together when they're synchronised singing as well. I like Paul McCartney when he does his more deeper octave range, so yeah, I just think it's a fantastic song, couldn't really fault it. And then the next song is another Harrison song called It's All Too Much, which is another psychedelic song, but I believe this is a better of the two. For example, it's 6.5 minutes, but it's really held together really well. The chorus on this is much better, it's more melodic as well, and much more of an interesting song to listen to. Yeah, again, I have no idea what it's all about, but I think it's a really good song, and as long as I like the sound of it, that's probably the main thing, you know. Okay, so this is the next song, All You Need Is Love. And again, this has previously been on other things, but I've got to give it a bit more credit, because now that I realise the Magical Mystery 2, I'm only thinking the 2009 thing that was released, and that was actually not on the EP. It was a single, I think. So again, I'm getting there. You know, I'm understanding it a bit more why it's on here. It's another trippy song, and it's a nice message to the kiddie winkles, I suppose. But I don't know. I suppose I've never talked about this song before, so yeah, it's a classic. It's classic. It's probably the most significant and stereotypical psychedelic 60s song that was ever made, but I can't really fault it at all. Just one of the best Beatles melodies that's going on. It's the sort of stuff you expect them back in the day as well, so it's good to see them doing it again. Just simple lyrics that's being said by Lennon, but just mean a lot as well. I really am struggling. I suppose the McCartney when it goes all together now, everybody is a bit cheesy, but that's the only thing I can think of. It's pretty much a perfect song apart from that. But then we end with the Beatles songs, because then we delve into the second thing that most people complain about this album, and that is Mr. George Martin, producer of the Beatles, coming in and putting in some instrumental orchestral music that goes along with the soundtrack. And I feel a bit sorry for him. I think it's all really nice, you know. It reminds us a bit of Frank Zappa, you know, how it goes from rock to doing a bit orchestral stuff like this. And linked into Zappa, some of it's, I wouldn't say it's funny, but it has, you know, it's not too serious, some of it. It goes into some really peaceful stuff that's done, and then it goes into like stuff like March of the Meanies, where it's a bit more something that you probably think of a Disney film, and it's a nice ending, I suppose, with Yellow Submarine and Pebbleland, an orchestral version basically of the song that ends well. I suppose it's a bit too much bad meat to swallow, I suppose. I mean, chucking it all together. I could imagine if they sort of put different songs between each other's songs, that would be a bit better as well. They make it flow better as well. To also put that, if they made the songs work how the movie works, I think that would have been a bit cooler. Make it more like a soundtrack, but and there's no songs to pick out really with George Martin's version. They're all canny listens, but obviously they're not really Beatles songs either, so I can't say they're the worst Beatles songs. I think it's a nice little thing to add. I mean, I'd rather not having nothing and then just having this really short album. I think I wasted my money with it, so it's nice to have something a bit more. And that's it. So, thank you very much for watching. Overall, I'd give this album, I'll give it a 7 out of 10, because, like I say, it's got two absolute classics. So obviously, a few songs I'm not too bothered about, and I'm not too bothered about the George Martin tracks, but I think they're a bit underappreciated as well. If it flew better, if they'd flown better, then I would have been more happier. If they, I suppose, made some more different songs to include it and not just, put on songs that were already released, that would have been nicer as well. But that's about it. So, thank you very much for watching. Hope to see you later. Bye bye.